All right. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Gather Creator Spotlight video. And today we have one of my very favorite and super valuable, amazing creators with us today. This is Paula Allen. If you haven't met Paula, you have and you don't know it because Paula has been supporting me with the Gather community since before it really was a thing, especially before it really was here online. But you might not know really how Paula can help you and help the people in your world as an entrepreneur. So Paula, welcome to your spotlight. I'm so excited that you're here. Tell everyone a little bit about you, maybe your journey to how you got here and really who you're trying to help.
Right. So I've been online for almost 20 years now. I think it's 18 and a half, running online businesses. My first business was a transcription company, but I soon learned that entrepreneurs needed more. They needed more support and help. And most of it was in the tech. They didn't understand the tech. And those days, it was a lot different than it is now. So it's been kind of fun being able to watch all of that change and how entrepreneurs do it. But then and so I became more of a virtual assistant at that point, where I was doing everything, I was learning all the stuff. So they didn't have to go learn how to use, how to code in Joomla.
Joomla. I've never even heard of that one.
I learned how to code in Joomla in the early days. I taught myself because one of my clients needed it. And yeah, that's not even a thing anymore, except in the developer world. But wow. So all of that fun stuff. And it just evolved and evolved. I love to push the buttons and learn new things. And so I was able to support more and more entrepreneurs and learn the virtual assistant world really well.
Well, and that's definitely one of the things that I know about, like if someone says, who do I know who can do this platform or that platform or who's tried this and what do they think of that? I said, you know what? I know someone who can help you find someone. I don't tell them that you will help them because I've learned that lesson and we'll get there in a second. But, I know that you know all the platforms and have such a community of people to be able to refer them to if they're looking for support on, Teachable or, all the different platforms that are out there in the world. So tell everyone so yeah, all the things, but you're only one person. So what was the next step for you with helping those entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So the next step for me was not only, supporting them and answering their questions on solving which platform would be best for what they're trying to do. But then I turned to the virtual assistant world and I was like, I think I found that there was a gap. There's a gap in between the entrepreneurs and the virtual assistant, where the virtual assistant, a lot of them are so experienced and
they're a lot like you were, right?
Yeah, they will push the button. They know a platform, they learn it, or they're willing to learn it really fast. And now they have tech minds, or they know how to do write amazing copy and just do the things. But there was this gap in between how the entrepreneur spoke and what the virtual assistant said they could do. So I've been negotiating that gap in the hey, what's your niche, right? Because building a team and talking about building teams and how a team works is different than just working, hiring someone to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we were talking earlier, you were talking about the idea of a task-based person, support person versus someone who understands the goal and comes to you with let's do this, as opposed to, okay, what do you want me to do today?
Right. Yeah. So that's how I find that a lot of virtual assistants, they think that they're, when they first start out, especially, they are just just give me anything and I'll go do it. I'll figure it out, but you have to give it to them. You have to always, and they don't seem to be part of your team. Yeah. They are someone that you're giving some tasks to. So I started a virtual assistant training academy that's more about leadership. I've also done a ton of leadership development in my life, just like you, Tracy. Done a lot of leadership development. And it's actually my one love. It's the one thing that I'll always work on every day. And I train virtual assistants on leadership, on showing up and being part of that company. their heart should be with that entrepreneur. I mean, if you succeed, I succeed. Like I think I said, I'm all for you making money. I make money when you make money.
Right.
Like if you want to just look at it at that level, but also that success and that getting to the next level and getting to the next level and following and leading in that. It's a dance, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's definitely been my experience working with you. And I'm fortunate enough to get to work with you directly because we started so long ago. I know that not everyone gets that privilege these days, but I equate it back to like a lot of us who came from a corporate background, which I know isn't really your, like, I mean, you're aware obviously, but you have a more entrepreneurial history. But for me, coming from a corporate background, I think about like, we had to deal with the idea of people who were task-based and like their job was to do like tickets, right? Yeah. And you do this ticket and it said what you needed to do and you went and did it. And there wasn't a lot of problem solving or coming back to the table with ideas necessarily. That was like the next level person. And so it sounds like for the academy, you're taking a virtual assistant who has that potential, but is maybe still like just on the cusp of getting out of that ticket-based, task-based mode and giving them the skills to be able to feel confident and coming back and saying, yes, I can do all these things that you want me to do. Give me a list of things, that's fine. But I can also help you strategize and help you come up with a better solution, because as entrepreneurs, we're only kind of in this lane of this is what we do for our clients. And this thing over here is like, I don't know how we're going to do that. Can you go figure it out for me? Right. And I think as entrepreneurs, that's a really valuable question. Can you go figure that out for me? And to have someone say yes and do it successfully that's the team that we're looking for. That's the gift.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It's the, hey, let's solve this together. You don't have to figure out the technology and what platform to use and all of that. I can say, hey, here's what I've seen out in the world, right? Here's what other people are using successfully. No, that's not going to work for us because, and this is why.
Right. These are the things that it does well, and these are the things
knowing
it doesn't
what platforms
do well.
we're using and what technology we're using and what our end goal is and whether it's going to be a good fit or not. And also sharing that, honestly,
Well, like, I have a lot of people ask me like, why did you choose that platform for your, whatever, and most of those people are like, I've been doing the research and I've been trying to figure out what to do. And now they're posting on Facebook. I can't figure it out. What should I do? And it's like, is Facebook really the best place to ask that question? Wouldn't it be better to have someone who's actually in the industry, who has experience in those areas, who can offer you a experienced response, as opposed to, oh yeah, I was thinking about that too, and I think this, but it's kind of coming from nowhere.
Yeah, a lot of what I've been getting lately is entrepreneurs coming to me with, I need to build a platform. Should I use Kartra, Kajabi? What should I use? Right, all of those, because all the options are out there, and honestly, new ones pop up every day, right? Yeah. And so, and it's like, there's too many choices to make. How do I make the right choice? Right. And most of it, there's no one right choice. It just depends on what you're trying to do with your business and what your end goals are and things like that.
Yeah, and we hear, I think Kajabi is a good example because it's so prevalent and it does a lot. And so, the world feels like the world is on Kajabi for a while. And it's like, is that the right, like, how do you know if that's the right thing? Well, you have to know what you want, right? So you have to actually build the future now so that you understand what you're looking for to see if it is the right fit. And it might do what you want, but it also does all these other things and costs 3 times as much but you don't need any of those things, right? So finding the right one, not just something that does the thing.
Right, exactly. And it's also, it's about a lot of that tech stuff that you don't understand. And sometimes the answer is a lot more simple than people try to make it, right? It's like the other day I had someone going, I think I should move off this platform. And I'm like, why? What? I mean, you've got it all set up here.
Something new and shiny is why.
Well, and it didn't do one thing. There's always going to be something in every single platform. It's like, okay, so you give up this, but over here, this is what this does not do, quote unquote, right? So what are, it's like, you have to know where that is, but it's also, you like to partner with someone who can have those conversations.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me, so someone, an entrepreneur who has a virtual assistant that they've hired for a few hours a month, 10 hours a month or whatever, and they're just kind of getting themselves together, but they're like, I really like them. They're organized, they're responsive, but they haven't been doing this very long. And they're a great learner, but they haven't been doing this very long. And I really want someone that I can grow with. So what's that next step? Is it the VA's next step? Is it the entrepreneur's next step? Like who's identifying that there's a step to be taken and how they proceed?
I think the answer is both sides, right? So the first, I mean, the entrepreneur that's learning and growing and everything else, or the virtual assistant that's learning and growing and everything else, is ready for that to move more into that leadership role. And maybe they don't know how to do it. I actually teach that in my virtual assistant academy, how to move into that role of being a partner in the business and not just showing up to be a taskmaster like we talked about. How to have those conversations, how that communication works and what that looks like to be a leader. And it could be that they, once they go through all of that, maybe they're ready for even the next level to become an online business manager, which is another title that is given inside an organization where they're managing other people on the team, because and that kind of thing.
Right.
So there's a lot of levels that you can have a VA, quote unquote. I mean, and a lot of different team members that can be your VAs. And so it's the building that actual business and that team that I love to work on. And because I think it's important to your company. I mean, you say you come from the CEO background, you see how the team was important, right? Every level was important.
Right.
It's important inside your entrepreneurial business too. It's still a business, right? And you're wearing all the hats right now if you don't have anything. And that's where it gets a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
You don't have anyone to help you with any of those hats.
I think that was one of the aha, like transition mindset shifts for me, was when I stopped calling my business a business and started calling it a company. And I still struggle with like saying my company, which it absolutely is.
Right.
But
Yeah,
the idea of like a company, like that's Google, that's Amazon, that's like all these things are all companies, they're all on the stock market or whatever. And, everyone, right? Everyone in my life practically has a business, but are they treating it like a company? And so that shift is like, I think for a VA, I would imagine is a pretty significant shift, because a lot of people start like, that's their like little side thing, or right. It's that shift from side thing to your new career and the company that you're creating, not only for the entrepreneur, but the VA becomes an entrepreneur also as a result.
And a lot of the times, I was thinking earlier when you said something about being a ticket system, and I'm like, but so much of that has been automated now. So that makes their job obsolete, right? If you're just a ticket system person, you really, I mean, I can make a sequence that can answer 90% of those. It's like, I don't need you to sit in a chat line, in a ticket system. I can have a robot answer that, just like Amazon has robots packing our boxes, right? So moving to that next level actually grows and expands your potential in your business as well. And for the entrepreneur, it does the same thing. As you start building team, it makes you less of having to answer those tickets, right? Which is something that anyone could do, honestly. And once they get to know your business, it's, the regular, how do I log in? How do I do this? How do I change my credit card to make my payment? All of that stuff. There's no reason that you should be answering those kinds of.
Right. It's all that the systematized stuff that is just, triggered by, it's email sequences and it's, autoresponders and all that stuff. Like you said, it's all done with bots now. And, I think that there's people who would say, but I really want it to be done with a personal touch. It's like, no, like you can see that personal touch is more important when there's a conversation, not a question. Right. So then have the people engage. All
they want is their question answered when they just want to log into their site. They don't want, they just want that answered. They don't care who answers it.
That transition from, thinking that there needs to be that kind of personal handholding at the base level, where really the people that we're trying to hire and are worth the money that we're paying is is to help us, duplicate ourselves, to help us be, part of the company, part of the brand, part of the business, and not just, answering the base level questions.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, because that leaves you more time, as what our mutual coach always says, to go out and sell and serve, right?
Well,
serve
to do what's our job, right?
Right.
It's not my job to do to send every email out that we send. I mean, I wouldn't need all of, all these duplicates of me. There's no way that the way that businesses run these days, that can be done by one person.
And it's scaling.
And
you can only serve so many when you're serving
Right.
one-to-one, right?
It's so limiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love it. So I know that you have your academy happening regularly throughout the year. So we don't want this to be a time-bound video. So we'll just say, let's make sure that we have obviously we have all of your information so people can find out when.
It's ongoing registration. It doesn't
ongoing.
start all of that.
Awesome.
It's just
so anytime. So, if someone's they found a new VA, they're like, this person's gonna grow, I want to refer them to you. So they're going to come to your website. They're going to find out all about it. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
What else, like in kind of a wrap up, or like what's the message you want people to really hear, to say, oh, that's actually true, I need to go do that?
So one of the things that I also offer is that entrepreneurs, I give them I give them referrals for very good virtual assistants, right? For ones who have already come through all of this.
Well, sure. You've met all of these fabulous people, and now help them get some work.
Exactly. And they get filled up really fast. But so you can always just throw, if you're looking for a virtual assistant, into, there's a form on my website that will allow you to put what you're looking for and all of that. And it goes out to my community regularly. And so you might get some people from that. Eventually there'll be a page up. It's coming. I'm still developing a few things in the back end, and I'm always upgrading and updating. And
the other thing I think we want to make sure to mention too is, your community, your experience, like you've done a lot. You've helped a lot of really successful businesses really scale. Like this is, and I think because in general, you tend to kind of be a behind the scenes person, people might not really realize that. As a client, I've seen from you, this event that you're working on, or that person that you're working for, or whatever. But I think that sometimes people struggle with understanding, I don't know, like the idea of like trying to just say, this is what I'm looking for, and not knowing if you're the right person.
Right. So on my website, there's actually a download that addresses this. It's
perfect.
It's the 20 things you can outsource and how to get started. There's actually 5 funnels of outsourcing, and I've identified all 5 and what the kind of tasks, the kind of things.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those aren't the same person, but that helps people like go, oh yeah, I do need that. Oh yeah, I do need that.
Yeah. Or I'm gonna need that 6 months from now after I do this one.
Yeah. And oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Right. And so and that download on my website, and I think it's actually on my, the website and stuff is on my creator page and everything. Right. So it's all there. It's right on the front page. That really breaks down. And it also tells you how to get started with the outsourcing. So what you should do, how to get yourself positioned. And I think that's what a lot of people, they think it's going to be so much work to try someone else for something when I can just send this 5-second email. Right. But you send that 5-second email 12,000 times, and that makes a big difference. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where we get stuck, is thinking that we can just do it faster than we can tell someone how to do it. But it's all about
the first day and the first time. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Yeah. And that was a big adjustment, as for me over the course of these last couple of years, and it's still, nowhere near perfect. That's for sure. But to let things go.
We all just send the email. Sometimes I do the same thing to my team. They're like, I could have done that. And I'm like, I know.
There's no, we're not, it doesn't have to be, it's sometimes you just got
the cool thing about not being the CEO of a 10,000 person company is you do get to touch everything, right? And you get to pick and choose what you touch and when you touch it.
And for a lot of us, right, we're still developing the right voice. we're improving our clarity of message, like all of those things.
Definitely.
And sometimes you just kind of feel like you need to like just
get in it,
like get it in there, and then that can then be duplicated. I think that's what we've been doing a lot this last few months.
Yeah,
is,
definitely
creating new stuff, and then now we can duplicate that and repurpose that and all of that. And that's the benefit of having a finger in everything, but at the same time, really having the support that you and the team offer me.
And someone who look at the perspective of, hey, how can we duplicate this so anyone can do it next time so that it can be off your plate? I mean, one time is fine, but if you're doing it 10 times down the road, it's like, you need to create more stuff, right? So it's like, there's other things you need to do. You need to go talk to people.
You need to go, serve more clients instead.
Yeah, definitely.
Fabulous. Yes. So I love that you have those downloads on your website. That was the perfect answer for that, because that's exciting. And I think that really is going to serve a lot of people to understand, like, what could their next step be, right? I think that's the question. They don't know what their next step can be. And now you just offered them a way to like figure that out pretty easily. Yeah. So that's fantastic.
And you can always jump on a call with me. I love to position people and just tell them what they need as well.
And I know at the beginning of this year, you also did some like deep dive days to like really look at everything, which is another opportunity. Maybe early in the year, it makes a lot of sense. Maybe going forward.
No, I just did one last week.
Depends on the person.
I just did one last week with somebody. It was, she's at a place where she needs to scale because what she has isn't sustainable anymore. And she's got a ton of stuff, and we're really good about putting it in order and going, okay, here's where we need to do this, what we need to do, and all of that stuff.
And seeing what's really bringing ROI and what's not, and how things can maybe be repackaged and stuff like that too.
Right, exactly.
Awesome. Well, I love it. I'm thrilled. I hope that everyone who listens to this takes you up on getting that freebie off your website, because that sounds like really the first step in a big change for people that's going to be super valuable. I love it. We'll make sure also when we post this online to put the links and stuff right in the comments, so it's there. But yes, on your creator page, of course. Now that you're a creator, I'm so happy. And I just want to say thanks. Thank you for your time in creating this. And we are going to have an amazing 2022. And we will talk to you again soon.
I'm looking forward to it. I love this community. The Gather community is a great community.
Yay!
Some of my favorite peeps.
Hey, me too. I'm thrilled you're here. All right. Thank you, Paula.
All righty. Bye-bye.